Alrighty, good morning everybody. So today we're doing full body stuff. We're gonna get moving with some stuff will kind of work with a good amount of volume, so we might develop a little fatigue. Other things will kind of work on some speed. We'll do a little bit of both. So should be fun, hopefully a little different. And we don't need too much. A block may be helpful, a ball and like a stick or something to hold on to for some standing. But other than that, we don't need too much here, just ourselves. So we are going to start off today. You can do it either kneeling or standing, whatever you would prefer. We're going to work on some shoulder cars. Okay, so we're going to start off nice, typical shoulder cars. Okay, let's go with our left arm, and we're going to come across our body. Reach up, rotate, reach back behind. So we're trying to get as big a range as we can without pain. Yep. And we'll do 3 reps here. 3 nice big reps. Awesome. And we can reverse. Very good. So as we're going through these today, it's nice to be able to first get a joint moving, move where you want to, make sure you can get full range or close to without pain. And then you can start to manipulate things like speed or resistance or other things. Let's switch up the arm. So we'll come across with the other arm. All right. So if we start to do things with varying degrees of speed today, and you don't feel like it's either safe or that you can coordinate it very well, and you just stick with a speed and a tempo that works for you. That is the big key. We'll do another 3 reps here on this shoulder, trying to keep that elbow punch nice and straight. All that movement's coming from the shoulder. Awesome. Alrighty, and then again, you can do this next one, standing, kneeling, whatever feels good for you. We're going to work on some spinal cars. So we're going to do the full rotations of the spine, and we'll revisit these as well a little bit later on. So we're here. We're going to start with the rounding. You can cross your arms or do a self-hug. Then I'm going to have you rotate left. Chest and shoulders rotate left. Tip to the left. Start extending back, especially through the mid and upper back. Tip right. Rotate over to the right. And then start rounding back down to the center. And then you can come up. Okay, and then we can go the other direction. So, nice rounding. Try to go 1 vertebra at a time. Rotate right. Tip right. Extend back and start tipping the other way. Rotate as you start rounding back to the center and up. We'll do 1 more each way. Okay, you can switch up the arms if you have one on top. All right, so we'll round first, rotate left. Okay, really trying to squeeze out as much range as we can here. As you come to the other side, you're going to rotate toward that side, round back down, and up. And then we'll do 1 more going the other way. Try to feel every part of that spine moving as you rotate right, tip, and extend. Nice. Whew, all right. And as you finish that rep, you can relax for a moment. We are going to come up to standing, and next we're going to work on the hip cars. So you can grab onto something. Make sure you're nice and stable here. And we'll get the hips. So let's start with that left hip. We'll come across our midline and up. try out, internally rotate as you reach back. Good. 3 reps here, so first rep can be a little warm up, and then we're trying to push that range a little bit more. There we go. Excellent. Working on staying nice and tall. Move that hip through a big range of motion. Looking good there. Once you get 3 on the one side, then you can switch it up. Same deal, staying tall, try to get that hip across your midline, then up, then out, and rotate as you reach back. And then we'll reverse. Nice. Again, stay nice and tall. Try not to let that pelvis move too much. All right. Looking good. If you're ever in a time or energy crunch, and you're like, you know what, I just want a big bang for my buck, mobility-wise, I got 5 minutes, shoulder cars, spine cars, hip cars, and you'll affect pretty much every part of your body, just about. So now, we are gonna go back to the shoulders, okay? So this time, we're gonna work up to some speed with the shoulders. So we warm them up a little bit. We're gonna go back to the left shoulder, and what I'm gonna have you do is just go start your first rep slightly faster. You don't have to do anything yet. I'm just gonna demonstrate. And we're gonna take a few reps. We're gonna go all one direction. And you're gonna gradually work faster within a speed that is comfortable for you. What I don't want though is, and you've probably seen this, and you've done this, if you sort of use momentum and get a little, like I'm not actively doing anything with my shoulder there, I'm just sort of like swinging it and relying on momentum. So I want you to actively create that movement through your shoulder as quickly as you can while trying to capture as much range as possible. So take a few reps to build up and then try to get 5 reps at your maximum safe speed. Then we'll relax and we'll switch shoulders. Okay, so you can build up, start slow, build up that speed till you can get about 5 reps at your maximum safe speed. There you go. And speed is a relative term, so whatever works for you. If you feel like going a little faster means you're going to miss out on half the range of motion, then you don't have to go faster. Now, same thing, other shoulder, same direction. So we're going to start slow, gradually build up with each rep, and try to get 5 reps at the maximum speed that is safe for you there. Cool. And it may be different side to side, depending on what you're feeling. What's cool is generally, if your overall mobility and health is higher, your control and ability to move with speed will also be higher. Same deal now, we're going to go back to the left shoulder and go the other direction. This tends to be a little bit more awkward and a little less coordinated. So back, up and across. So we're still trying to capture as much of that range as we can, gradually moving till you get to the point where you can go your max safe speed for about 5 reps. Whew. And once you get that, then you can relax for a moment. And even though each rep is relatively less intense than going really slow and hard, you might get a little pump there. It really gets those muscles working, which is kind of fun. All right, now we get to go the other shoulder. So start slow, and you can build up. To the point you get 5 nice speedy reps. Whew. So that can change things up a little bit, spice up those shoulder cars. If you're going to do something powerful, whether it's a sport or something else, where you are going to be moving fast, or you're going to be running or sprinting, jumping, this can be a really nice way to prepare. Now, we are going to do the spine. We're not going to do super fast spinal cars, those are pretty tough. We're going to go more of a rhythmic thing here. So you can kneel or sit if you would like to. But basically what I'm going to have you do is round a little bit. It doesn't have to be all the way. And then we're just going to rotate, keeping some rounding side to side. So we're going to take about 30 seconds here. And you're just going to get a nice rhythmic rotation. Think about trying to keep those hips nice and still. So you're just rotating shoulders and chest. You might feel the obliques, maybe the lats even, as you turn to help pull you across. So on one hand, we're able to move a little bit quicker, and we can get a lot of reps, a lot of movement in. So we're not creating as much strength or quite as much control, but we're really moving those tissues a lot, which is neat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew, and if you're really kind of squeezing, that can be a lot on the core too. All right, so hopefully we're getting a little warmed up now. And now we're going to do the hips with a little bit of speed. This tends to be a little more fatiguing. So be ready for that. Big rule here is do not kick yourself, okay? So we're going to do this basically the same process as with the shoulders, where you're here, here. Still try to get that across if you can, like that. So start slow. There you go. Adam's practiced these before. All right, start slow and then build up to the fastest, safe reps you can, and try to hold for about 5. Whew. Once you do one side, then you can shoot for another one. So for the other one, not another one. There's probably only one more side. All right, so you can do the same thing. Start slow. Try to keep that ankle high. That's probably the biggest thing that's going to want to happen is ankle's not going to want to get up there. Good, so we're building up. Whew. You might feel some real fun stuff in those hips. The key, as always, not working through pain. What is cool, if you practice your cars, you practice your hip mobility, you might come back to this in a few weeks, and that speed might become a little easier. So take a moment. We're going to go back to the left hip. This is the one where you don't make sure you don't kick yourself. So as you come across, try to get some of this adduction, but it's not going to come all the way across, or else you'll kind of kick yourself trying to go fast. So I'm okay with you sort of cutting that short and mostly working on that kick back and around. So same deal. There we go, nice fast reps. If you can get there. Whew. If you are doing something, or you would like to do something where you're working on endurance a little bit more, then you could do these and try to hit a speed that's challenging, and you could do it for 10 or 15 reps to the point that you feel a lot of fatigue in those tissues. And then when you're ready, you can switch up the legs. Same thing going back. Ease into it. There we go. So you get about 5 reps of nice speed there. Whew, all right. Now we're definitely warm, so you can take a little breather if you'd like. I'm going to take a quick sip here, because we'll probably get the heart rate up a little bit. Those hips are, it's a lot of tissue there to move. A little tougher than the shoulders. So now that we're nice and warmed up through the hips, we're going to work on some hip internal rotation, then some external. So we'll come down into a 90-90 position. We'll go with the left leg forward, right leg back to start. There we go. Yep, so find a comfortable position for you. And we are going to work more on this right leg. As always, you can pop yourself up on a block or on something elevated. It can take a little bit of the stress out if it's a tough position. So, we'll start with some internal rotation lifts. Most of you are familiar with these, so we're going to try to use these tissues to rotate the thigh and lift. There we go. All right, only has to be a second or so each lift. And I just want to work in some good reps here. You can even give a gentle push down into the ground as that foot comes down, and then lift. All right, so we're trying to lubricate this joint here, really get it turning, get some good reps. And we will come back to this a little bit later. There we go, lift, push down. Got it. Looking good. We got it. Hey, B. All right. So now we are going to work on the front leg before we switch to the other leg. So for this one, we're going to do more of a kind of pulling in and pushing up. Oh, we got someone else joining the party there too. All right. So for your front leg, we're going to lean in and push up. Okay, and for this one, I want you to think about using your core a little bit to pull yourself in. Try to use those stretch tissues of the hip to push yourself back up. And for these, don't make it super difficult. I want it to be doable, but I want to take about 40 seconds here, okay, to just come in, push up. So we're doing it at an intensity that you can sustain for a little bit. And a little bit of a rhythmic feel to it. So we're working on lots of reps, some good endurance. Yeah, find a stretch. Use those stretch muscles to push you up. Very good. In and out. Excellent. We'll go a little bit longer here. There we go. In and out. Nice. Let's go for one more rep. One more rep wherever you are. Ooh. And now, guess what? We get to switch sides. So, we'll do the same thing, other side. All right. And we're going to work that, that back hip again. So, wherever you need to be to get a little bit of a lift off, maybe a few inches, that's where I want you. So you might need to lean forward a little bit. And we'll just try and lift and back down. Try to get that hip rotating. Yeah, there we go. And as you get some more reps, you can add a little bit of a push of that foot when you come down. So we're just trying to get some good rotational work. In and out. There you go. Get that hip moving. What's nice about some of this is when you're going for more reps, more volume, no one rep is super intense, ideally, but you can accumulate a lot, and it doesn't create as much need for like conscious energy. All right, at least not right. Well, ideally, maybe right now it does. So you can just, sit wherever you are, multitask, and that's what everyone does, right? They do hip internal rotation while they're working at their computer. It's normal. Okay, you can relax that leg now, and then we're going to shift, same deal, to the front. Okay, so think about trying to pull yourself in a little bit. drive back out. As you go, you can try to get a little more range. There we go. Imagine, like, we've done this at really high intensities, so I want you to think about, like, you know, half of that max intensity. So something you can sustain for about 40 seconds where you feel it. It's a little challenging, but nothing totally exhausting. There we go. And use those stretched muscles to push yourself back up. You can, of course, use a hand to your side to help a little bit with stability if needed. There we go. Looking good. Almost there. We'll get a couple more reps. Alrighty, now we get to switch gears a little bit. So we can stay with a seated position or on the floor, and or you can sit on something if you'd like. We're going to work the shins. So the hips and shoulders, I had you start on the left side. Let's start on the right side for this one. So we're going to work on tibial rotations, like so. So you're trying to rotate that shin in and out. There we go. So I talked a little bit about speed. It's kind of a progression. So initially, we want to be able to move a joint slowly and controlled, try to work that full range of motion as best we can. Try to feel those tissues working, right? So this works to rotate externally. The inside works a little to rotate internally. Yep. So we need to first just try to get very comfortable with that movement through a big range of motion. Nice. And then let's switch legs. We're going to come back to this. So we'll switch up the legs. We'll do the same thing. Whatever is a comfortable position for you. We'll try to do those rotations. There we go. All right. As you go, we want to make this more and more about this and less about the foot and ankle. So foot and ankle is just along for the ride. They're not driving. All right. We'll do a couple more reps. You can compare it side to side. I had a fun experience with sides yesterday. I got to work with the Lower Merion crew team, and I had them doing different kind of plank variations and side planks. And a few of them, actually a bunch of them, when we switch sides, which is my favorite thing to do, I love when we switch sides because you get to compare, we're like, this side is so much harder than the other side. And that's very exciting because that's a huge opportunity right there for improvement. Let's go back to the other leg. So anytime you switch sides, always an opportunity to notice if something's different. Not necessarily good, bad, but just different experience or different opportunity to improve. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start the same thing, and I want you to try to do it a little bit faster. Okay, so here, you can even dig in your heel a little bit, whatever helps you create some stability. And we're going to rotate and see if you can rotate that shin faster without just like the foot taking over and kind of doing that. It's a little tough. Something I've been working on more. It's something I do think is good for a lot of people. It's not an absolute like prerequisite for being healthy, but especially if you do something that requires power, requires running or quick movement, it's good to be able to move these things fast and have that ability. Another thing that's fun is it'll really start burning if you're able to do that. Yeah. All right, and we can relax there. So I do that sometimes. I've had some late night Frisbee games for a winter league. And we can switch here. My left knee tends to give me more trouble, and I drive an automatic car. So on the way there, I just do these slow, and then I work fast the closer I get to the field. So I'm all prepared, all fired up. All right. So for these, if you can't coordinate it going fast, just try to do it rhythmically. Try to do it as quickly as you can and still get that shin moving. And then gradually see if you can move it quicker. So changing speeds also brings us another opportunity for assessment between sides, right? Because maybe going slow, one side to the other, they feel pretty similar. But going fast, one side's a lot easier to coordinate. That's good information there. It might give you some direction for where to train. And you can relax there. Or fatigue-wise, like my left leg fatigued a lot quicker. So great stuff to know. So we can relax those legs next. We are next going to do, we're going to go back to the hip internal rotation, and we're going to go for a little bit more power here. So we're going back to left leg forward, right leg back, or whichever side you started on. And I want you to get into a position where you can get a bit of a lift off, more than an inch or two. You might have to lean a little bit. Get some tension, so I like to kind of hold on here. I'm pushing down through my other arm. And then I'm going to try to lift off with power. And it can be kind of challenging, right? It's because when we start moving fast, our back or pelvis might want to move. We only want to move through this hip. So I just want you to practice. You could push down fast too, I just don't want you to bruise your legs. So you could do that as well. But I like to pull up fast and then try to stick that point. Yeah, so that's another progression there. It's going to require more stability from the rest of your body. There. And we'll just get a couple more there. Nice. Okay, we're not going to move to the front leg right now. We're going to just switch it up. So, mental note, make a note of how easy or difficult that felt, and you can try the other side. If not much is happening, that's okay too. You're still working on that internal. Okay, so find a position. For me, this side's tougher, so I have to lean a little more forward. There we go. Nice. So anytime we're creating power and more speed, it's more of a stability demand on the rest of our body. Good. Let's get a couple more there. And we can relax. All right. Pretty fun. And another thing that does, if you're able to do it, is it just changes it up a little bit. Maybe you want to work on internal rotation a certain amount a week, but you don't just want to do a bunch of lifts that are exactly the same. You can do some fast, some slow. We're going to go back to our front lift, so we're going to switch back, left leg forward, right leg back. And now we're going to do a little bit more power with the lean in. So it's going to be controlled in, push up, if you can, safely. Push. Push. Okay, and I'll show you from this angle. I'm giving myself a little stability here with my left hand. I'm leaning in, pushing up. So this front leg is driving you up. So you're controlling in, catch yourself with that leg and push up. Yeah. Again, just to the extent that you can without discomfort. All right, 400 more. And last one. Got it, those last 399 went really fast. All right, and then we can switch up the sides. So same thing. Okay, and I'll show you this angle again because you're going to be different side to side. For me, I need a little more help than this side. All right, so you just want to be stable and you can lean in, gradually get more. And think about, your back is going to be probably pulling you up a bit, but try to use that hip to start that push. There we go. Another fun note that I may have or may not have mentioned to some of you before is that as we age, and you can relax there, as we age, power disproportionately decreases compared to like strength and muscle mass. So we don't lose that much muscle per year, we lose a little more strength per year, and we lose a significant amount of power per year as we reach maybe 40-ish. But if you train it and you improve it, then you are better able to keep it. So definitely important. And with that being said, we are now going to work on calf raises. So ankles. So for this one, you can absolutely hold on to something. And we are going to start off, as has been the trend today, we're going to start off slow. All right, what I'd like you to focus on is driving through the balls of your feet, the big toes, so you're pushing up. At the very top, your heels are going to point a little bit toward each other, so they're not going out like that, they're going like that. Okay, I'll show you from this angle. So up, control down. Up, control down. So you want to get as much range of motion as we can. Yep. Hold for a moment at the top, control it down. What's nice is if you're holding on to something, you can use that for stability to help you get a little more range of motion, a little more control. If you don't need stability, then you can try it without holding on. Nice. So if this is not something you typically do, you might find some fatigue fairly quickly, and that's totally cool. You can work on that pretty easily. A couple sets per day, not even. Now relax for a moment, and then we're going to work on that power propelling up. So you can hold on to something for sure. That will probably make it a little bit more effective. So we're going to pop up and try to hold that top position just for a moment. Control down, pop up. Okay, so I'll show you again. Pop up, control. As soon as those heels hit, we're popping back up. Again, this is all relative to what you can handle. Control down, pop up. Control down. Nice. Here we go. We'll get a few more. Drive through those big toes. Got it. If you notice, as you're doing these, your feet start going out, out, out like that, that might be, and that's very common, by the way, that might be an indicator that your body is trying to avoid those big toes as you push up and go away from them. So just something to be aware of. So now that we've done that, we are going to switch gears a little bit and work on the shoulders. They haven't gotten a ton of work. We did some cars. So for this one, we're going to be seated or kneeling, and we want to have our arm propped up on our leg. So you can do this seated on the floor. You can do it seated on a block. Whatever works for you is great. And this is the position I take. You certainly don't have to do that, but it'll give you some extra stretch. You can go both legs the same. But our goal is just to be able to prop our upper arm. So if you had a couch or a block or something this height, you could rest your arm there and do the same thing. So we're going to do some of these axial rotations. You're going to rotate internally, rotate externally. So it's almost like you're set up to do like arm wrestling, but your leg is the table. Okay, and I just want you working slowly in and out. Try to get full range of motion so we get some nice rotation. Relatively low intensity here. So shoulders can be tricky and where we're creating that movement from. So I want you to think your shoulder blade is not moving. Imagine those deep tissues, deep in that shoulder capsule, are creating that rotation. Slowly rotate, try to push into those end ranges. Really try to rotate. Yeah. Good. Okay, then we will switch sides. We are going to come back to this. So other leg, other arm. Okay, same deal. If sometimes people feel a little jumped up in here, doesn't want to move a ton. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll try to like almost glue my elbow down and then lean my torso away, so it creates a little bit more space in there, and then we can get that rotation. So same deal here. All right, as you may have noticed, this is a new side, so more assessment opportunities. How does it feel? How does it feel working at a lower intensity? Just trying to feel all those deep tissues in there working. You can take this arm and kind of grab up here and feel, ideally it's like, if this was just a cylinder and you were holding it, it would just be rotating in your hand. It wouldn't be moving forward and back. It would just be rotating. And that's what you want to feel with your shoulders. It's just rotating in place. Yeah. We'll just get a couple more here. So slow comes first, then you can work on speed, you can work on more tension. For today, we're going to not do as much speed here. We already did those cars. But I'll show you. You can relax for a moment. Okay, I'll show you first. We're going to go back to the first arm. And some of us have done like a resisted rotation like this. What I'm going to have is your top arm is going to provide constant resistance at a relatively low level, because we're going to do this again for about 30 to 40 seconds. All right. So it's going to be here. You're going to be working through this range, and you're just going to be pulling down with your other arm, going the deepest range you can, and then pushing back out of it as far as you can. Okay, so use a relatively low amount of tension with your arm. And see my hand is kind of right on top of my knuckles. Good. Because you'll notice if you use a lot of tension, after like 3 reps, you're going to get really fatigued. So we are working for fatigue. I want you to fatigue these muscles, but take about 30 to 40 seconds to do it. Try to rotate. You might not get as much external rotation, but definitely try to max out that internal with some tension. All right, we're almost there. 3, 2, 1, relax. I think that's super cool, and I really like to warm it up with easy rotations to make sure we're getting it from the right spot before adding resistance. But it's cool because Siri, come on now. Every time. So let's do the same thing with the other one. And down and up. But what's cool is like I work rotation all the time. I work my shoulders pretty hard, and adding like 3 pounds of pressure for 40 seconds is really fatiguing. So it's pretty neat how easily we can manipulate the intensity. There you go. So if you notice after a few reps, you're like, you know what, I can handle more. You can certainly push a little bit harder. You can push into that end range. There we go. Trying to keep constant tension on those tissues. Constant tissue tension. CTT. Excellent. I think we're about 7 or 8 seconds in so far, so we're doing great. Just kidding. Last one. And got it. Whew. Okay. So, nice and warm through those shoulders. Now we're going to do a little more hip and shoulder action. So we're going to do some more global movements here. Not focused on one single joint necessarily. So we're going to stand up and we're going to do one of my favorites as a warm-up, as just a general mobility drill. A half kneel hover with a push and pull. So I'll demonstrate real quick. So imagine you're in a half kneel position. You're going to hover as low as you can without discomfort that you can hold. It could be here, it could be here. Then we're going to punch one arm forward as we pull the other arm back. See how my chest is rotating a little bit naturally, but my hips are staying locked in. So we're going to do that for about 30 seconds, okay? That's going to create some fatigue. If you need to come up a little bit as we go, totally cool. All right, ready? And then we get a nice break before we do the other side, okay? So just one side first. Ready, and go. Push and pull. Imagine you're punching one fist forward as the other one is pulling back as far as it can. There we go. Another great one to do in public. Really good. I think I might go to the airport and do these. Shayna's going to be really upset. Good, almost there. Look at that, I can pull my arm back and check my watch. 3, 2, 1. Relax, shake it out. So remember what leg was forward. We're going to do something else before we come back to that. All right. Speaking of airport, so for those of you who are here, I'm going to send out an email too. I will not be able to teach class next week because I will actually be at a mobility and strength training conference in Phoenix. So I will be doing this weird stuff in the airport, for sure. So now we get to do something relatively easy. So we're going to work on some volume. We'll do a bunch of reps, but from this position, everything's a little easier. We're going to do knee hinges. So going to bend the knees and extend. And what I'd like you to do here is have your knees at a point where you can fully extend both of them and fully flex. And we're just going to get some nice rhythmic reps in here. Spend some time. Good. Nice squeeze. Try to squeeze those quads and squeeze those hamstrings as you pull back down. Yeah. You got it. We'll go about 10 more seconds. So it's also kind of remarkable, if you do things that don't take a huge amount of mental effort, and you just go, oh, I'm going to do rhythmic reps for 30 seconds or a minute, and you can relax here. It's kind of amazing how much you can get in. You just turn your brain off a little bit and just move. It's pretty cool. So that's a good strategy, I think, for homework too. Like I'm going to spend 5 minutes, 1 minute on these 5 joints, and you can really get a lot in. So next, we get to go back to the half kneel hover. Okay, we're going to go with the other foot forward. All right, and then you don't have to do these anymore today. All right, ready, and go. We're going to reach and pull, reach and pull. Excellent. Really feel that squeeze in your back as you pull. Reach that other fist as far forward as you can. There we go. Doing great here. Almost there.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri, she's always trying to interrupt Kinstretch class. All right. You can relax. Whew. All right, nicely done there. So, take a moment. I will show you what is next, and then we'll do it together. You can take a little breather here. If you need a drink, you can certainly grab it. So we're going to do 3 exercises 2 times through. And then we'll finish with some nice, relatively easy recovery work. So first one is bridge walkouts, where you're going to try to pull your heels in as much as you can. You're going to bridge up, and then we're going to walk out as much as you can, and then walk back in. Okay, so for that one, that's going to be 30 seconds, which will not be too many reps. The goal is to keep the hips really high. And I'll remind you of these as we go. I'm going to show you the other 2 next. So plank get-ups, which is plank position. You're going to go up, up, down, down. You can lead with either hand, trying to keep the torso really solid. If that is really tough, you could go from the knees as well. Or you could just try to hold a plank. Okay? And then the final one, another one of my favorites, we're going to do a squat and hip rotation. Okay? So we're going to do 2 sets of all that. Yes! B loves it. All right, so the bridge walkouts, it's going to be the same both sets. Plank get-ups, set 1 will lead with one arm. Up, up, down, down. Set 2 will lead with the other arm. And for the squat and hip rotation, first set we're going to rotate just one hip. Second set we'll rotate the other. So, now it's game time. All right, we're going to start with the bridge walkouts. All right, so I'm going to tuck your pelvis, bridge up, and start slowly walking out. Little steps out as far as you can go. And then you're going to slowly walk back in. As far as you can walk back in. Try to keep those hips high. You can push down through the arms for a little extra strength and stability there. As you extend those knees and pull them back in. Very nice. We're almost there. 3, 2, 1, relax. Awesome. Whew, all right, so I do like those a lot because you're sort of getting a little quick isometric hold as your hamstrings lengthen and then pull in. Plank get-ups, plank, up, up, down, down. Lead all with one arm for this set. Okay, so we're here and we're ready. Go. You're going to push up, up, down, down. The goal here is to be really solid, trying not to let that torso move too much. Yeah, looking good. Imagine you're balancing something on your back. 3, 2, 1, relax. All right. Awesome. Okay, then we can bring it on up. Now we get to stand. All right, whichever hip you want to do, you can pick and then just do the other one next set. So we're going to squat down. Doesn't have to be super low. Make sure you have room to move, but low enough that you feel those legs working. Ready, and we're down. We're going to rotate. Rotate. Try to turn that hip in. Rotate out as much as you can. Turn in. Rotate as much as you can. Very nice. Hold. Those legs get a little break after this. 3, 2, 1. Relax, shake it out. Beautiful. Ooh, yeah. All right. All right, take a moment and then we get to do the bridge walkouts one final time. All righty, so same deal here. We're going to come down.
We'll go for that 30 seconds again. Alrighty. On the heels, tuck the pelvis, bridge up, and here we go. We're gonna slowly walk our way out, and slowly walk our way back, trying to keep those hips high. Yep. Looking good. Very nice, very nice. We're almost there. Three, two, one, relax.
Awesome. Take a couple breaths. All right. And don't worry, we get to do another set of those plank get-ups. So again, imagine you're balancing something on your back. Pretty fun. You know, if you're not fond of imagination, you could put something on your back. Or you could put something on your back and imagine it's something else. Just really, really nuts. Okay, so ready? And go. Up, up, down, down. Control. Chest and hips are coming up and down with you, but they're staying really solid. Yeah. Here we go. Nice and controlled. 3, 2, 1, relax. All right. Wonderful. All right, might be getting up a little bit there. And we get to do our hips again. All right, so make sure you use the other hip from what you did the first time. Okay. And here we go. Go ahead and squat down, up on the ball of the foot. We're going to rotate in, rotate out. Try to keep your chest and belly button nice and still as you rotate that hip in and out. All right, I'm just training you for the dance moves. That's all it is. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. Relax.
I didn't get that. Could you?
Whew, awesome. Hey, you can shake it out a little bit. And we're going to finish up today with some breath work. So, we haven't done a whole lot of breathing stuff recently. I guess we started with it last week, but it's really nice, especially when things, you do a relatively higher intensity type of training. It's great to get some relaxation right after to help stimulate recovery. So, we are going to come down to our active naps. So I'm going to have you lie down here, get a little tuck of that pelvis, and I want you to think about breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. So nice breath in, extended exhale out. There we go. Think about as you breathe in, you're expanding uniformly throughout your whole body. Your whole torso is expanding out in all directions. As you exhale, you're blowing the air out, your ribs are coming down. Breathing in. So get a couple more breaths like that. Let yourself just sink into the floor. Expanding uniformly with each inhale,
Feel the abs and obliques as you exhale and force the air out. Then we're going to switch now. I don't want you to worry so much about how you're breathing. We're just going to focus on time. So we're going to do box breathing. I want you to do between a 4 and 5 second inhale, 4 to 5 second hold, 4 to 5 second exhale, and 4 to 5 second hold. Okay, so I'll walk you through a round right now. So go ahead and inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale. Okay, that was about 4 seconds, so if that felt like a little bit too much or too little, you can bump it up a little more. Sometimes I just kind of count heartbeats, 5 or 6 heartbeats per hold and inhale. So, nice even box. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale. As you go through a couple more rounds, you can feel free to continue increasing the box. Okay, so you can inhale for longer, hold for longer. And we'll go for one more cycle through that. Okay, one more cycle through. And then if you got nowhere to be, you can just hang out. It's nice to just relax after that. It's also a nice pre-bedtime routine. All right. I've been, as I tend to do, listen to a lot of and read a lot of fitness stuff. And it seems that when it comes to training, getting a sharp decline from that peak of intensity is really good for your overall progress and helps stimulate recovery better. So after anything fairly intense, it's really good to do some breathing. In fact, because I speak a lot, which may or may not be annoying for you, during class, while I'm doing stuff, it ends up being a lot more stressful on the system, not in a bad way, but it's just I tend to have to do some breathing afterwards to kind of bring myself back down. So, all right, great work, everybody. Hope you had fun.